How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees. We've got a game today at 1:05 p.m., so if you're seeing this before or after, we'll see what happens. Yesterday, obviously, another ugly performance, some defensive lapses, and the bullpen is a complete mess. Ryan McMahon getting his first start at third base today for the Yankees after Oswald Peraza was there. Yankees ended up optioning both Scott Efros and Yorbit Vivas after the game, and reinstated Yerry De Los Santos and obviously McMahon. So a little bit of reinforcements. But we want to talk about three trades the Yankees could make to turn this season around. Three players that really they need desperately. The bullpen is in absolute shambles. Doesn't matter how good the offense is. It's a psychological game at the end of the day. If you're down 5 runs, 6 runs, 7 runs, the offense can only do so much. You can't expect them to bail you out of bad pitching performances all the time. So we're going to list off some names here and really who could be a good fit. There's some new updates, new rumors, but really we're focusing on a right-handed bat and a couple of bullpen arms that can feature in high leverage situations. So Ryan, before we dive into it, how do you do today, my friend?
I'm doing well. Look, the Yankees are in an interesting spot right now because now with Ryan McMahon, their infield situation seems to be solved, but there is some talk about potentially adding a right-handed infielder. We'll talk about that in a bit, but Alex, I'd be remiss if I sat here and talked about anything other than pitching. The Yankees desperately need pitching, and thankfully there are some players out there who could really impact this pitching staff, especially in the bullpen, and the Yankees are engaged in those kinds of conversations. So the first one that's going to dominate headlines is Yohan Duran, Alex. Yohan Duran is a star closer. He is everything you want in a reliever. Lots of strikeouts, lots of soft contact, 1 home run allowed all year, a ground ball rate nearing 68%. He has a 100-mile-per-hour fastball, a 97-mile-per-hour splitter. That's kind of a splinker deal. It's a weird pitch, but it's a beautiful one. He's got a curveball. He's got a sweeper. It'll cost you a lot. My understanding of the situation is that it's going to cost you way more than you think to get Yohan Duran because the Twins do not feel like they have to trade Yohan Duran. But if the Yankees were able to strike a deal with the Twins and match up on the value, this would be an unbelievable upgrade. And I know a lot of people in the comment sections go, why are you looking for a closer? Devin Williams is your closer, and he has been good at his job. And I will agree, Devin Williams has been a good closer for most of the year. He's kind of put that awful April behind him and become a real impact player for this team. But you don't have to just acquire guys who aren't closers. You can acquire a closer and move them to a setup man role. Let's be real about the situation. The Yankees do not have a high chance of retaining both Luke Weaver and Devin Williams. I would sit here and argue the Yankees may choose to retain Weaver because Weaver will be cheaper than Williams, and I don't think they want to pay that top dollar for a closer. And you can trade for Yohan Duran and have him be a setup man for now and then move him to that closer role next year. Duran is not going to hit free agency for 2 more years, so it won't really affect his future money. It may affect him in arbitration, but I really doubt the Yankees would play that kind of game of, hey, we're going to mess with your arbitration money by telling you didn't get enough saves. That's how you lose a free agent. So, Alex, my understanding of where the Yankees' biggest flaws are with the bullpen, that bullpen sucks. We saw it yesterday. They allowed 10 runs. So, Yohan Duran, how would that make you feel if the Yankees acquired him this deadline?
It would make me feel real good. I mean, he ranks among the best in every critical bullpen metric. I mean, 88th percentile chase rate, 89th whiff rate, 78th strikeout rate, 98th barrel percentage, 100th percentile ground ball rate at 69%. This is an elite bullpen arm, and you mentioned it has a couple years left of control. It's going to cost the Yankees significant capital to get a player like this. But he can be anything you want him to be. He can be high leverage. He could be your closer. He could be anything. And you got control, so it does make up in case you do lose Weaver or Devin Williams. Now, Weaver, the way he's been pitching lately, I think it's safe to say that he's not going to get some massive offer in free agency. He'll get some money, but I think it'll be nominal. I think the Yankees can probably keep him for a reasonable price. That home run yesterday to Real Muto was an absolute dagger. I mean, he inherited 2 men already on base, so I don't want to give too much put too much of the pressure on Weaver, but that was a bad pitch in a really favorable spot for Real Muto to absolutely dog it. So I do think that this bullpen is pitching without confidence. They're lacking location. They're lacking really everything you need. They can't even get to Devin Williams because they don't have a chance to close. So it's really a situation where they need some high leverage pieces in critical moments. They need to have a guy they can put in with two men on base and one out and say, this guy is going to get us out of this jam. Yohan Duran is one of those guys. He's one of those guys you can throw in there and he will get you out of a bad situation. And it'll give the rest of the bullpen more confidence. We'll see what Yerry De Los Santos brings to the table. Obviously, far from that, but he had a 1.8 ERA over 20 innings before the injury. So we just hope to God he can be better than anything we've had recently. I mean, Ian Hamilton has been so bad. Like, I don't even know, like, does he survive, on this roster? Does he survive the next couple weeks? So we'll see there, but it's going to cost the Yankees a lot. I wonder if the Yankees would try to go for a package of players instead of just Duran, but maybe it's a Duran and God, we're going to talk about. I guess we can easy transition. Willie Castro. Willie Castro seems like a pretty solid right-handed option for the Yankees if they want to go down that road. And what do you think about if you're going to go and try to get Duran, also trying to get Castro at the same time, who's on an expiring deal, decent bat. How do you see him kind of playing a part if the Yankees wanted another utility man who can play outfield, infield, and the season's hitting 254 with a 765 OPS. So, he brings some pop to your lineup a little bit and a little bit more versatility and good versatility, not like Oswald Peraza versatility where he's just going to be like horrible offensively on any given day.
Yeah, Willie Castro provides the very important distinction between him and Ryan McMahon of being able to play shortstop. And with Yorbit Vivas going down, McMahon is the Vivas replacement. With Peraza still on the roster, the Yankees are either A, going to keep Peraza on the roster, or, and I don't know. I don't think the Yankees want Peraza to remain a New York Yankee, but they need someone who can play shortstop. It's that or acquire someone who can play shortstop. And Willie Castro, not the guy you want to stick at shortstop every day because his defense there isn't great, but certainly the kind of guy who can fill in every now and then or play it in an emergency or in a pinch. Defensive run saved did not like him last year, but outs above average view him more as like a mediocre defender out there. So it's a preference thing, I guess. If you watch the film, it's not the worst you'll ever see, but he's certainly not a brilliant defender out there. As it pertains to his bat, look, he has a 115 weighted runs created plus this season. He has hit for some decent power. He pulls the ball in the air a lot. Has good numbers against right-handed pitching and left-handed pitching this year. The kind of hitter who you can just slide into your offense and immediately get a good amount of value out of. The Yankees are interested in Willie Castro. They tried to trade for him last offseason, and look, he plays this utility man role, and I think the very important role of potentially being able to give Anthony Volpe some time off, depending on matchups against righties, depending on how many days in a row he's been playing. These are things that the Yankees have not had. I think it's important for the Yankees to be able to, have interchangeable pieces around their infield and not have to anchor Volpe down at shortstop for 162 games. So what I do want to throw out here, Alex, is that Ken Rosenthal also linked the Yankees to Brendan Donovan of the Cardinals, who is also that similar kind of like utility man role, but he is more of a starting player than Willie Castro is. Let's just make that very clear. What I doubt the Yankees are going to go get Brendan Donovan at that price point because he's going to cost a lot and you want pitching. But obviously, Alex, he would be a dream, and I'm going to just kind of let you go on about this portion because I just mentioned Brendan Donovan. I can see your face already.
Dude, Brendan Donovan, if you've been a fan of this podcast, is one of my favorite players. Just a great ball player. Just ball player, hit ball, field ball, all around good dude. Really good leader for the Cardinals as well. They didn't want to get rid of him. They didn't want to trade him. He's a key component to that organization. But Brendan Donovan is just a great player, man. I mean, he's hitting 293 this season with a 360 OBP, 428 slugging, 788 OPS, only 9 home runs, but he really just dominates, man. He really just puts together solid at-bats, good plate discipline, just encouraging stuff. I mean, yeah, like defensively, hasn't played third base in quite some time. We don't need him to play third base anymore. He can play the outfield, play the infield. Overall, he's just solid. So I'm pretty excited that his name was even floated. I don't think that he's gonna be traded, but man, he is not just a starting caliber player, Ryan. He's a player on a championship caliber team. He's a championship caliber player. So I think that that's kind of a pipe dream. But man, if the Yankees got him, their infield night and day, and it allows you to get a little bit more flexible when guys are having cold stretches or going through error-prone situations. Like you could be a little bit more flexible with Volpe. You can maximize your lineup on any given day. So he's awesome. I would love to get him, but like you said, to get Duran, to get Brendan Donovan. It's going to cost an arm and a leg. It's going to be too expensive to get all of them, most likely. So I think Willie Castro probably is the more probable if the Yankees want another right-handed bat, or at least switch hitting bat that isn't going to cost them an arm and a leg.
Yeah, it's going to probably be Willie Castro if they add someone like that. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is also someone that I imagine is part of that mix as well. I know Ahmed Rosario's name's been floated out there, but I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I don't love the fit because he's a brutal defender, and I can't stomach watching the Yankees play defense, and I don't want to watch Ahmed Rosario join that mix. Watching the Yankees try to convert ground balls into outs is like trying to stick two forks directly into your eyeballs, but when you took the forks, you heated them up over the stove for as hot as they could possibly get before melting, and then poking them right into your eyes. So I'd prefer not to get Ahmed Rosario for that reason, although I think he's a good bat and would help them against left-handed pitching. Now, I think there's kind of a Goldilocks zone of players here, Alex. We talked about, Willie Castro is attainable. Yohan Duran may not be attainable. Brendan Donovan is also in that. Well, I'd say he's more unattainable than Duran because the Yankees will prioritize Duran over Brendan Donovan if the value was similar to acquire either of those two players. And that makes sense. The Yankees' issue is not offense, it's defense. Donovan's a lefty. The Yankees need a righty, et cetera, et cetera. David Bednar kind of forms this perfect Goldilocks option for them in the bullpen, in my opinion, because as we had noted with with Yohan Duran, the odds of the Twins trading him is not particularly high. It's not like it's 0%, but it's not like 100% either. David Bednar has a 2.25 ERA this season. He has struck out nearly 34% of batters faced. He has a 7% walk rate. He has a 0.50 home runs per nine. Again, he strikes out everyone. He doesn't walk a lot of people. He doesn't give up a lot of home runs. And he's going to be under contract for 2026 as well. He throws 97 miles per hour, nasty splitter, nasty curveball. There is nothing I can sit here and tell you is wrong with David Bednar. Yes, he had a bad 2024. Look at the back of the baseball card. Every other portion of his career suggests this is an elite closer, an elite reliever, someone who can help your bullpen immediately. Alex, I think there is a higher chance of David Bednar being traded than Yohan Duran, just given that the Pirates may have a better chance of getting more value back for Bednar now than they will next year when he's just a rental. That is a big difference to some teams. And for the Yankees, they have been talking to the Pirates. For a note, they've also been talking to the Twins. I could see them go out and get David Bednar, and maybe it's a package deal. Maybe they try and get Bednar and Mitch Keller or Bednar and IKF, et cetera, et cetera. But Bednar is this Goldilocks player where not too expensive, not cheaping out at the position, immediate massive upgrade. Again, 49 strikeouts in 36 innings pitched. He is a strikeout machine. He has the highest strikeout rate of his career. This bullpen needs support. They need someone to get the ball to the ninth inning. They have Hill and Weaver, and they sucked last night. And I'm not going to try and use that one game to disparage both of them, but I'm going to use that one game to say, you only have those two. Those are the only two guys you have to give the ball to Williams in the ninth. That's it. That's all you've got. Nothing else. Loizaga blows. He's going to have to pitch today. Scott Efros, he got sent down. Good God, watching him pitch is a labor. Yari Del Santos, you hope can help you, but you need so much help in this bullpen. If David Bednar is out there and he's available, you got to go get him, in my opinion.
I 100% agree. And like you said, if the Yankees want to do like a 2-for-1 or two-for deal, David Bednar and IKF would make a lot of sense. Another utility man you can just plug and play. He's a great contact hitter. There's no power there. Also an expiring deal, but IKF is going to cost you nothing. Willie Castro will probably cost you a bit more, and then obviously Brendan Donovan would cost you a crap ton. So, if you walked away with Bednar, who this season, like you mentioned, 96 percentile strikeout rate, 78th whiff rate. This is a guy that's just going to strike out batters, high leverage. He can do everything you need, forcing fastball, curve, and split fingers. So, get a decent pitch mix there. I mean, he's coming off that bad year, like you mentioned, but he also has a year of control. So he's only a free agent in 2027. He'll cost you, but if you got him and IKF in a package deal, IKF is really just a toss in. Like, you're not gonna have to give up much more to get him, and he does. Listen, IKF is not like you get Ryan McMahon. Like, we're not talking about IKF playing third base anymore. You're talking about IKF replacing Oswald Peraza. And let me just say, to replace Oswald Peraza with IKF is a substantial upgrade. On any given day, he could platoon with McMahon, play third base against left-handed pitching. He can cover second if Jazz something happens to him. In a worst case situation, I mean, not like Volpe's playing good defensively, but he could play shortstop if you needed him to. Just a good utility man, like a big upgrade at a backup position. So I do think that would be an interesting move for the Yankees if they wanted to go a little bit more like pitching centric. But then again, I think they could realistically do something of the nature, Ryan, of like Bednar, IKF, and add a starter, or maybe even add another big relief arm or someone with some good underlying metrics they can leverage. If they went in this direction, like how many bullpen arms do you think they have to add? I mean, right now I think minimum 2, right, and they have to be like solid bullpen pieces.
Yeah, they've got to add 2, and at least one of them has to be like, okay, this guy could close a baseball game for me, kind of good. It can't be Mark Leonard Jr. and Yel De Los Santos. That's not going to cut it for this group. That is going to lead to this group not making the postseason. I've said this on Twitter before, and I'm going to reiterate this point again. Brian Cashman cannot wait until July 31st to add relievers. This bullpen sucks. They're not going to get better. The 26 players you walked into that Toronto series with earlier in the week, and when I said this during that series, the 26 you had going into that series could not be the 26 you had finishing that series if you wanted to win it. And they lost that series. You know why? Because the 26 players on that roster that day are not good enough. Not good enough. It's great. They have a great OPS. They have great slugging numbers. There are some good pitchers on that roster. But you know what it is? They have not won. They have not won enough. They have not won enough to suggest, and they have not done anything over the last 6 weeks to suggest that is a 26 that'll turn around. Now you go down to 25. Vivas is gone. McMahon is in. You need to get pitchers now. I didn't think, you take 25 of the 26 and you'll win it all. No. You take like 20, maybe 19, maybe 18. That's the number you might be able to take to the World Series with you if you want to go there. When you go into the postseason, I need like 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe new players on this roster, whether it's coming back from injury or the trade market. This team, that iteration of the group, not good enough. You're going to get Fernando Cruz back, that's 1. Yeri Dos Santos comes back, that's 2. McMahon, that's 3. You expect to get Yarbrough, that's 4. You expect to get Heel, that's 5. Boom. All right, cool. That's almost half your work. That's over half your work done. I'd like 2 relievers. I'd like a starter. That starter can push one of your starters into the bullpen as well. That's very important. And yeah, I mean, this group needs 2 relievers, Alex. At the very minimum, 2 relievers. And if they're going to do 2 relievers, it's got to come with a starter. And if it's not going to come with a starter, they need 3 relievers. They need 3 pitchers, 2 relievers, 1 starter. Nothing short of that. Nothing short of it. This bullpen sucks. Stinks, dude. It's terrible.
So let's round this out by saying the 3 trades. Let's say 3 trades. It could be one of the trades could have multiple pieces. But right now I'd say David Bednar and IKF would be a solid move. The alternative trade would be Yohan Duran and Willie Castro, which is going to probably cost you exponentially more. The more realistic one, I'd say, is Bednar and IKF because, Cashman doesn't have to give up as much and he still has more pieces to go. So let's say right off the bat, the first trade that we were going to make here is David Bednar and IKF. That's the first trade. The second trade, what other, I guess you want another bullpen arm? Who's the next guy you're looking at? It's like this guy would help us substantially and not ravage our farm system, but can still, like Bednar can close games for you, but this second guy is like middle relief. He's a good arm, but he's not going to break the bank.
So my first guy for that was Hobie Milner, but the Rangers kind of picked it back up. I doubt that they're heavy sellers at this year's trade deadline. You can look at a team like the Rays, who Ken Rosenthal reported might be trending towards selling, but some of those arms even, you have kind of high-profile guys in that group, like a Pete Fairbanks, who, I personally, I don't think I don't think the Yankees are going to pay that top dollar for Fairbanks, nor do I know if he's that good of a reliever at this point to pay top dollar for. He is a rental, I believe. I could be wrong on that, but if he's a rental, that's a name you could throw out there, and he'd be pretty effective. The Yankees had interest in him last year, actually as a club option for next year, so if he is available, that is certainly a guy the Yankees will look at. Not as much swing and miss in previous years, and his strikeout rates come down each year, so a little bit worried about that. I do like Garrett Cleavinger that they have. His home run rate is hilariously high, and that's a little bit concerning. But he also is playing in George M. Steinbrenner Field, which is Yankee Stadium, except you have Florida humidity. So, yeah, you're going to get a lot of home runs. It's not a great place to pitch in. I'm going to be honest with you. If you don't want to allow home runs, good left-handed arm, under control for a few more seasons. Shouldn't cost you like your top 2 or 3 prospects, but will really upgrade your bullpen, especially from the left-handed side. His home run rate actually on the road is higher, so maybe I don't want to touch that. But still, I mean, he's still better than what you have, and he is a good pitcher, and he misses bats. So I'll throw those 2 names out there from the Rays because I know that the Rays could consider selling. And then from the Orioles, Sir Anthony Dominguez, I really like him. He's a power right-handed arm, lots of strikeouts. Again, rental not going to cost you too much. I know Ryan Helsley could get dealt, but he feels like a big name. So, yeah. Danny Collum of the Twins, left-handed reliever veteran, 0.62 ERA, soft tosser, hasn't a lot of home run this year. Maybe you get him and you get Duran and you get Castro all in one deal. Maybe you just
That'd be sick.
Yeah,
That'd be
Danny
ideal.
Here, 0.90 ERA. I apologize because he made a start, so doesn't factor into his reliever stats. 30 innings pitched, 25.8% strikeout rate, 6.8% walk rate, and yeah, doesn't allow any barrels. 2.5% barrel rate, 0 home runs allowed per 9. Yeah, I'll take that, Alex. I don't know about you, but I'll take that Danny Collum and Yohan Duran in a freaking heartbeat.
100%. And I guess last but not least, starting pitching. You could add one starting pitcher, reasonable, like mid-rotation guy. He's not going to be a frontliner. Who do you think is the most realistic for the Yankees? I'd say Mitch Keller would make sense, but I think the control definitely complicates that because they're going to have to pay up for it. I could see an expiring guy like a Lugo, or I really don't want to say Gallen, or a Merrill Kelly, who probably costs a lot. Like, who do you think the Yankees go after as the starting pitcher?
Well, if we're going to be honest, Merrill Kelly makes a lot of sense because he's a rental, as you mentioned. And I'd also like to note Merrill Kelly is someone who the Diamondbacks, is going to trade. But the Diamondbacks is a team that they like our farm system. They like the pitchers the Yankees have to offer. So they match up well. That's why everyone thought they're going to get Eugenio Suarez. That's why we thought they might have gotten Eugenio Suarez. But they match up well. They have catchers. They have arms. The Diamondbacks like both. I'd be kind of shocked if these 2 teams don't make a trade. Wouldn't that be weird if like 2 teams that match up so well and have so many pieces? Because it's not just him; it's Shelby Miller. Miller is really good as well, and he could help the Yankee bullpen. Could you go Kelly and Miller, Bednar deadline, something like that? Could do that. I mean, I think Merrill Kelly makes sense. Rental, don't got to worry about the money. I like Mitch Keller, but yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I think those are pretty solid trades. But guys, always happy to hear your thoughts down below in the YouTube comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe as always, and drop a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. Enjoy the game today. Hopefully they're much better than last night. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.